Yes, that will. And so all of those on the category, which is just being.
Testing 1, 2, testing. Am I getting an echo? I don't hear an echo. Like we are good to go.
It can be boring, so don't rush through it. Okay. Sounds good.
Testing 1, 2, testing. There it is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah. Oh no, it was like, yeah. I didn't really. So I was like, she's gonna leave pretty soon, so I'm gonna show her and make her chuckle. Red hair. I know. Funny times. Love it, love it. What color next? Good. Or a bit more flat, I mean, one or the other.
How about you, Jess? How many hair colors have you been?
Um, I did like purple, red, pink, and that was it.
You've never gone blonde?
Just a little bit.
Me neither. I got like highlights years and years ago, but that's as blonde as I got.
Not a blonde girl. I think brown is best on me.
Same.
I'd love to do pink again.
That sounds fun.
Wednesday, August 13th. And may we please have the roll?
Director Salmon,
Sure.
Director Canseco.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And next, are there any public who are with us?
As we all stare at.
Sure.
And I didn't receive anything via email.
All right. We'll move on then to
Mhm.
our next number 3.
Go.
Too far.
We're going down. Did you say scroll down?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, scroll.
There you go. So, site logic update. Really, we're still on hold with energizing the solar at the wellness center until the ADA walkways are finished. Because that plan can't be signed off from the permitting until that's done. So that will lead into another agenda item here in a moment. As far as the administration, we will discuss that tonight in closed session regarding the lot line boundary adjustment with Dr. Skio. That should indicate what we can do next as far as administration and that part of the project. So we're still attending to it, but those other 2 dominoes have to fall before we can make the next steps. Any questions on that one? Nope. Howard's tapping away, but he's saying no.
I'm trying to get my agenda.
Oh,
So is that gonna be good news later?
we'll see.
Okay.
That will be up to,
Suspense.
that will be up to you all to some extent.
Well,
I'm gonna say first part will be good news because we're gonna finish this meeting and you're gonna be super enthusiastic about saying yes to the sidewalks. And then, depending on closed session, what's decided, we'll go forward with Dr. Ski. So hopefully that will also be good.
okay, then, item B, building A, room 2.
Encinitas Design Group, thank you.
Mhm.
You'll have that bid set in your packet. The architects have finished their drawing packet, so before we had shown the conceptuals about how they'll be adjusting the roof line, as well as the general layout of the demonstration kitchen. So they have finished all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all of those things. They have started to put in for putting together the permit packaging that will go to the county. I have got myself on the September Fallbrook planning group to kind of remind them what this looks like. We talked about it in the design review subcommittee, but this will go to the full planning group. We do that because the backside of what would have been the hall where the demonstration kitchen will be expanded, that part is visible from Mission. So we want to make sure that the planning group is aware of what that will look like. I don't anticipate any challenges because it's actually well hidden. It's gonna actually be an improvement over the current property. So I've already submitted that over to Eileen Delaney, their chair, so that that can be on that agenda. This will take a couple of months to go through the various permitting and everything from county, but it's finally moving along. They won't really be able to start until the sidewalk project is finalized anyway, because the permits all have to be aligned. So it's just moving along. It just moves a little slow, but we're happy. The group that we've talked with, Todd Coleman and Encinitas Design, has been very responsive to us as far as questions, any changes, some practical conversations that went back and forth. That happened a little while ago, but they've been able to accommodate a lot of our questions, concerns about usability and flow, and some of those different pieces. So it's moving along. This is more of a status update. There's really nothing to do. But just wanted to make sure that you saw the plans, which is why they were in your packet. Any questions on the on the plans or the process?
No, keep on rolling, huh? Hey, the reason I'm not getting my, agenda is that I don't have a password for the Wi-Fi.
That we can fix quite easily. We.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Make sure to note that the exclamation point there.
All right. But no need to delay the meeting.
Sure. So we're gonna report to the board about the design or?
Actually, for this one, there's nothing you need to do. I presented, Todd actually came to the board, our architect. Todd and I presented this, I think before,
Oh,
was it before you were on? I think it was before you maybe were on the board.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so he presented to the board how the main challenge was the roof, right? And then we were going to expand it, which meant we would have had to take off the other roof, lift, and then extend the roof over a different support line. So Todd came up with a better idea that said, instead of incurring that cost, why don't we basically create a lift and then an extension just over the new part of the construction? That way we don't have to tear down the whole roof, and that current center line of the roof can be the support for the new roof line. So you'll see can you go back to the first picture?
First one?
Yeah. I don't remember what number it is.
Okay, let me go up then. Whoa. Sorry.
No, you're good. Keep going.
What, you wanted the one?
Go up
These,
one.
right?
That one.
That one.
So you can see how on the left, and actually I'll stand up at the screen. That might make that just a shade easier. This would be the area that would be new roof line construction, which is here, which currently, this is where you see those HVAC units. So that will be a facade that covers this, but with an open airway so that there's airflow. But it'll also allow us signage on this building, which has always been a bit of a conundrum, right? So it'll allow for that. And then this new roof line would sit on the ridge line of the existing. And then that can float back to cover that new construction part. And it saves us quite a bit so that we don't have to remove this whole front half of the roof and worry about changing those elevations. So he came up with some cost saving options, which we always prefer, right? And it creates a nice architectural component. It allows a lot more airflow along this existing ridge line so that old roof above it, that'll all still be protected. And then it gives us this opportunity to have a more complete entryway into that space. Because obviously with the demonstration kitchen, demonstration classroom, that'll be a big focus. It's a big investment in the district. Does that make sense then from the?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Rachel, what happens to the water that comes off the slope roof that hits the other one?
it'll continue to follow the same path it does now. There actually is no gutter there currently. So when we put in the new roofing and have to fix the roof to A1, we'll have to add in new gutters on that side at that time. But right now it just runs in, it'll hit that trough, and then he'll have a runnel that it'll hit that, and then we'll direct it towards the back of the building. But we won't worry about putting in new gutters until we re-roof A1.
Is that a word?
Runnel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
random, I know. That's what happens when you marry someone whose last name is Runnels and you have Google.
Gotcha.
And you look it up and you find out that that's actually a water from it.
It sounded good.
Sounded like
I
I
just
knew
thought
it.
it might have been.
Made up?
spur of, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did not make that one up. Thanks for playing along, though, Howard.
All right.
Would you like to see the rest of them or any other part of them?
They're all the
Well, they're all-
architectural designs, so unless, I think page
I'm all here.
15 is the only next interesting page, and of course, I'm not numbered on this one.
No.
This is the interior layout.
Okay.
And that just has, kind of a layout of how we'll be moving those restrooms. So they're not in that actual meeting space, which will be obviously helpful. But to do that, it means we have to move the utility, mechanical room. It will also allow us to create a little bit of a storage space next to the classroom, which, as Teresa will tell you, everybody loves storage over at the wellness center. So you can keep going.
Okay.
There's more.
Down.
Keep going. More. There. Oop.
There.
That one. Yeah. That one. It just allows for a lot more space. So if you're looking at this, if you look at the upper and left, that square is storage, which will allow for tables, chairs, things of that nature. Right below that are where the restrooms will be, that will shift them from the right over to the left so that when you're coming in that front door, the restrooms are right in there and it keeps them out of the classroom space, which will be nice because you'll actually have to have a meeting without people walking in and out of the bathroom. So, and then of course, obviously expansion of the footprint to accommodate the demonstration kitchen will allow a little more space for that utility and mechanical space in the center there.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So you'll probably see not too much more activity on this because it will start to go through permitting process and such. Unless we see some significant flag from the county as far as permit changes, I don't typically bring it back to this committee unless there's something profound. And then once we get through that phase, the next time it would come back to this committee is when we're actually ready to put it out to bid for construction.
Okay.
And that might be a minute. And because this will be an expensive project, it will have to go through our full traditional bid process, meaning that we will put it out to bid. It will be a closed bid situation. So we will advertise it. The community and much larger construction community throughout Southern California will be able to bid. We'll have a specific date when the bids are sealed and brought to us. Typically Alex would sit in with me on that one. We would open the bids blindly that day, review them then, and make a recommendation then to the committee. This is the general contractor that came in with the best price. Not always the lowest, but expected to be the lowest as long as all parts of the project are covered. So you'll see that come forward, and that could be 3, 4, 6 months. Yep. Question? Okay. And it's a long set of plans because it has a lot of specific call outs as far as the mechanical, the plumbing, so many different pieces to it. So it's a very large bid set. I think it's like 60 pages or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, then,
Me too.
other questions, comments on that? Are we on now, are we on C now?
Yes. So this has been another point of interesting discovery.
Thank you.
We originally had Arch 5 Design help us talk about the conversion of room 3 and 6. And we talked about taking out that center wall between those two classrooms. Remember, this is at the end of building B, right? Taking out that center wall so that we could install a folding wall system, so we could potentially have one very large classroom. We've now had walkthroughs with at least 2 different general contractors. We're starting to get some information that folding wall system could be anywhere up to $40,000. Wow. So the folding wall system that we thought would be simple turns out to be much more complicated and much more costly. So Teresa and I have been having some conversations as to just how important is it in the long run that we have this much larger meeting space. We're struggling with it. When building A, room one, the old chapel building, when that room is renovated and we work a little bit more diligently on trying to figure out an acoustic solution, because right now it's just an echo chamber. Putting in, a carpeting tile will help keep some of that echo down. Potentially some acoustic paneling either along the side of the walls or some part of the ceiling. Would make that room available for large crowds and make this converted room less necessary. So we have taken a step back and we're pulling this part of the project out. We're gonna go ahead and have the exterior restrooms that have to be brought up to ADA compliance. We're having those bid out separately. Until we can figure out what we wanna do with that room, there's no reason to hold getting those restrooms done. So we're going to look at some options before we bring that part back to the table. But we are getting a second bid. We're gonna try for a third, but we're getting a second bid for those exterior restrooms. I do already have one bid for that. It's about $165,000 to $170,000 to renovate those two exterior restrooms, to bring them to current modern ADA and tile and furnishings and such. So you'll see some more information coming forward on that, but the main part was, as we got more information around that room divider part, we needed to really rethink the strategy, not just for the short term, but for the long-term investment. Can we justify the return on expense?
What would be the seating capacity versus the main building?
They're almost equivalent. The main building, I think, has a seating capacity of 90, 95, something like that in A1. And then in the conjoined rooms, because each room has a capacity of about 40 to 45, they end up being equivalent. So if we can make A1 less echoey, where you can hold a larger group, then the need for this room conversion is less. The chances of having two events at the same time of 100 people are not going to happen, because first of all, it makes parking at the place impossible. It would be really difficult. So we need a little more information on how to make A1 a more large group usable space, I think, before this decision gets made.
Something I did at the theater to reduce noise and echo excursions along the walls.
Oh, yeah.
That was a cheap way to really deaden the sound.
The main problem for A1 is that really high ceiling. It's got that beautiful wood featured arches. So no one's really interested in doing a drop ceiling, which would fix this problem. So one of the general contractors we've talked to has a quite experienced acoustic engineer. So we're going to see if we can get him to come and provide us with some guidance on what to do with that before we make a decision. So that's part of the reason we're going to go ahead and move ahead, get those exterior restrooms done, because they've been in holding pattern long enough. Let's get those done. And then we can decide what to do with the rest of the rooms. Yeah, but curtains would be great and carpeting would be great. Yeah, yeah. But it's that massive ceiling that is the challenge.
But you guys are always thinking about these things.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying, and I mean, Teresa gets probably the most feedback, because anytime she has anyone doing any programming in that room, the number one complaint is just how loud any voices, any activity is in that space. Yeah, whether it's Tai Chi or yoga, which are still generally softly spoken. Yeah. You get a loudmouth like me in there and forget it. It's just terrible. You laugh, but it's all true.
All right, any other questions or comments on item C? Hearing none, let's move to D.
The exciting part. You,
Ramps and sidewalks.
listen, right now, I love me some ramps and sidewalks.
Yeah.
So you had your packet, 3 different bids, and then you also had an evaluation, a bid evaluation tabulation form, which I'd like to talk about for one moment. We have a gentleman in town who is a principal of a very large construction firm that does a lot of healthcare. Our projects are much too small for the type of services that they do. But because he lives now in Fallbrook, he moved here about, what do you say, almost a year ago, something like that. He offered up his company to do the estimation comparisons. So I was able to send him the 3 different bids. And his firm was able to run through the bids, compare them so that all the apples to apples, what was excluded, what was included, so that we could identify what was truly the best bid. This falls above my singular signing authority and luckily falls below what we have to do for the full bid process, which means that the committee, and tonight the board, can make the recommendation to go forward, and then I can work with Alex to sign the contract to get this moving. This is one of those projects that, under our previous style of bidding before we went to the upcut, right? That bid process failed because it was one of those projects too small for the big entities to go through that very complicated bid process we had. But it was too large for any of like the small groups, right? We also remember are required to follow prevailing wage and such. So by having this new UPCA format, it allows us a little more flexibility. And then this local principal for this construction company being able to do this bid comparison for us really provided us a nice 1-page takeoff of the 3 bids. So when you put the 3 bids together, I know that was a long intro, but when you put the 3 bids together with what's covered and with the walkthroughs that we've done with all 3 of them, LC Paving came in with a much better price at $99,837 compared to the $135 that we received from both Boker and Supreme. It was startling because there was just enough of a difference, which is why I was very glad to have professionals take a look at that. The couple of things that are excluded from this are nominal in cost. So if there is a change order, it's not going to be a $40,000, $30,000. It might be a $2,000, $3,000. LC Paving, by the way, is the paving company that the district used in 2019 when we finished the sidewalk project on Elder up here. Obviously before your time, right when I first got here. We had the district, as part of a hospital expansion back in 1980 something, was required to put in the sidewalk, which it never did. And when the district sold the hospital property to Crestwood Behavioral Health, in order to change over that property, that old requirement came forward to put in the sidewalk. So we had to put in that sidewalk. And that sidewalk, as I recall, was like $200,000. Does that sound about? I've forgotten what that amount was, but sidewalks are really expensive. So having these ramps and sidewalks coming in at $99,837 was a very good price. It is consistent. We know that they can handle all the DIR and prevailing wage, all of those pieces. So my pleas to you is to approve the recommendation to go with LC Paving, and let's get those ADA sidewalks and ramps installed.
Any questions about that? I don't know enough to ask any good questions. I like the, that, and it was nice that we have somebody review that. I'm amazed that two came in at 135.
And they came in actually about $40 difference in price, which was astounding. And their prices differed in different areas, but yet the total of the bottom came in very close. So that's part of what prompted me to go to ETC, this other construction, and say, hey, you offered up help. Could you check out these bids? And since this was an easy kind of project for them to do, he was able to submit this back. And again, they have no stake in the game. They aren't related to any one of these contractors. So there's no conflict of interest. And the fact that we've used LC in the past and they were easy to work with, made it easy for me.
Is this amount essentially what we thought it would be?
No, we had no idea what the cost would be. The initial estimate I got was that it was gonna be closer to 65,000. But that was also a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and a lot of pricing has changed.
Okay.
Okay, well, would you like to move to make a recommendation to the board
Yes,
tonight?
move to make a recommendation to.
The board that we approve moving with LC paving to complete this project.
Yes.
Perfect.
I would agree.
Excellent, thank you. That will be on tonight's board agenda. I made the gross assumption that you all would be in agreement. We've done more than due diligence on this one. So I'm very comfortable with their bid. And the fact that we've worked with them before.
So then the next process with them would be when would construction start or?
So it could, let's say it's approved at board tonight. I will then start completing our contract with Alex. We have a template. I would connect with LC Paving saying you've been awarded. Here's our contract. They would sign. They have some papers that they would send to us to sign, and their project could start as soon as their construction schedule opens. When we met with them 2 months ago now, they were sitting at about 3 to 4 weeks out from start. So it could start within about a month to 2 months, depending what their schedule looks
Will
like.
this affect any of the programming we have?
No, that's the best part. Thank you.
Okay.
Is because it is up by building A
Mhm.
and the ramp down into the lower parking area, that central area is not obstructed at all. So we'll have some fencing up around building A.
Mhm.
Building A will essentially be off limits for that time.
Okay.
Teresa's already well aware of that. So it's just a matter of once we know when they can start, any shifting of programming can move around. We know Teresa can do that beautifully because she already had to do it with Site Logic. So that's the nice part about having kind of already gone through being open during construction is she's getting a really good sense of how to shuffle. So we won't start those exterior restrooms until these ramps are done, so that we don't have quite so much happening. Eventually, what could happen is that the exterior restrooms should be completed before we start any construction on building A. The idea is to try to keep those projects self-contained, right? Because once those exterior restrooms are being worked on, the only restrooms are in building A, which will be good because we'll have the walkways and the ramps to that building available. That's how we're trying to lay out that process. Good. Yeah. Keep it on task. Right. So you'll see that on tonight's agenda, and we'll make the motion officially tonight as well. So I may point to you and be like, so Annabelle made the motion at the facilities committee. So if you don't mind, I'll restate that if you're okay with that.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Great. Next is board member were you worried about that?
No,
Oh, good.
it's just been a very big project that we have. It's been a frustration, and the fact that we can't sign off on the Site Logic project until the completion of that disabled walkway is finished. And this is finishing that disabled walkway. So everything has been just, hence my big sigh. And Teresa's big sigh. I think I was just louder. Standard.
All right, any board member comments and future agenda items that haven't been thought about by our excellent management?
Okay.
Nothing today.
We'll continue to bring things forward, as they develop. But just know that any of these projects, if anytime, if you would like to have an update, if I don't have it on the agenda, let me know in advance. We can bring it up. It might be like the same place it was last time.
Yeah.
But, because some of these projects are newer to you, don't hesitate to ask where they stand.
All right, then, we are adjourned at 5:31.
Perfect.
All right, great.
Kind of hoped that we could drag it out so we could just move on into the board. Sorry about that.
Was never gonna happen. I mean, there's a lot to talk about because we have a lot of things happening, but